No worries. Okay, good morning, guys.
Morning.
I hope you're all well. Yeah. Okay, we're going to make a start, guys. I think we may have one person jump in. Just want to get started by saying, today really I just want to kind of make it as fun as we possibly can, okay, and less of a lecture. So your like enjoyment of this is far more important than my presentation. So if any point through the presentation you've got some questions or you want to ask, please just shout out, chuck your hand up, and we can explore that. And if we do deviate and go off the slides, we'll go on the whiteboard, okay? I'll try to present from here so that I don't block your view, okay? But if I do and I'm in the way, just tell me, Mike, can you move out of the way? You've got your handouts, guys. It's not slide per slide, but it is pretty close, okay? And there are a few different, a few adjustments. So who am I today? So my name's Mike Poole. I'm a certified strength and conditioning specialist and also a certified master performance coach. I wasn't always a coach or a specialist. Initially, I was an athlete. So I was a professional rugby player for 6 years. So what we're covering today, this nutrition around wellness and performance, I sort of lived this right up in that top 1 percentile. Okay, so when you're playing in front of 30, 40,000 people and you're playing in a really high pressurized performance environment, these little edges around nutrition are very, very important. Hopefully, I can give you some feedback today and give you some information that will help you tweak your nutrition so that you can feel better and also perform better in the different areas of your life. Unfortunately, my playing career ended because I broke my neck in a tackle. I flew into the tackle head on and fractured, dislocated my neck. It was a crazy period of my life where I was left paralyzed. I lost all my right arm. And I really had to rely on my nutrition to help me recover, particularly the protein and the different micro and macronutrients to help my bones heal, because I had parts of my hip removed to replace the part of bone that was broken in my neck. So it took around 10 months to recover from that, but my career was over. But I took all the principles, all the nutrition from the professional sport into my private life. And then I went on a mission around the world. I went around the world for 10 months, meeting people, going through different cultures, trying different foods. And wherever I was always finding that I was helping people with their nutrition. They would always say, I don't feel very good. I feel like I'm a little bit overweight. I don't feel very healthy. So I started helping people on this journey. And that's what I decided that I wanted to do for my next step. So that's what I did. Effectively, I moved to Dubai. Sorry guys, this is not changing. I moved to Dubai and technology. Okay, let's see if that'll work. Yes. Okay, I moved to Dubai, guys, and I decided to do this personal training for a living. And it was a very interesting paradigm switch for me. I went from being a bit of a self-absorbed rugby player to helping other people with their ambitions and goals and their body composition aspirations. This is one of my pre and postnatal exercise classes with a lot of pregnant ladies. So helping them with their nutrition and their exercise through birth and through pregnancy. Fortunately, I'm super passionate about this. I got recognized and got a number of different awards. I never really do it for the awards. I do it because I love it. I do it because, thank you, mate. I do it because I genuinely enjoy the change and the impact I can have with people. My most recent position was with a company called Evolution Wellness, where I was the wellness executive across 40 different businesses. Some of the leading brands in fitness, Fitness First, Celebrity Fitness, Chi Fitness, Fire Fitness, and Go Fit. It was my job to look after the personal training and the group exercise. However, it was with a private equity company, and I felt I was moving away from my passion, which is helping people and educating people. This was a bit more corporate, a bit more metrics and financial driven. So now I'm back in the mix, helping people, educate people on how to make better decisions around their exercise and nutrition. Okay? So that's where we're at today, guys. Today, I want to give you a little bit of a disclaimer. As I said, I'm a certified strength and conditioning specialist. I'm also a nutritional coach. The majority of this workshop is backed by scientific research. However, there are things in there that are influenced by my experience. Over 10 years now in the fitness experience and working with clients, there are parts of this that are based on my experience and the results that I had with clients, okay? If you do follow this advice, you do so at your own risk, just to let you know, okay? Okay, so what are we going to do? Today, the learning outcomes. So by the end of this 4-hour workshop, you guys should be able to classify foods into the macronutrient categories, okay? You should be able to explain what micronutrients are and where you can get them. You should be able to construct, you'll see some props on your table, you should be able to construct some healthy ratio macronutrient meals for yourself, so you can take that with you going forward. And you should be able to articulate the link between physical exercise and nutrition and how they work hand in hand and complement each other. So the learning objective, the objective of this workshop is to enable participants to make educated nutrition choices that lead to better overall wellness and personal performance. What personal performance is for you guys will be different for everyone. Some of you will have physical hobbies. Some of you, it might just be to sleep better or to just feel better about yourselves. So that performance, don't worry, we're not talking about powerlifting or Olympic exercising. We're just talking about your perception or what personal performance is for you. Okay, so a little bit of an icebreaker first. We're going to do some favorite food speed dating. Okay, so I'm going to put you on the clock in a second. Fortunately, we're in twos, but we're going to switch. Okay, so we're going to give it a minute per person, and you're going to tell the person next to you these 5 different things. You're going to tell them what your favorite food is, where did you have it last, who did you have it with, what made it special, and would you consider it healthy? Okay, so you're going to tell the person next to you, they're going to tell you theirs, and then we're going to switch with the people in the room. Okay, so this should last about 15 to 20 minutes. It should break the ice, hence the icebreaker, and it should also let us look at what types of food each of us eat. Are you all ready to do this? Okay, so I'll get my clock. We're going to be going for a minute, okay, and then there's going to be a timer. I'll do the gong, and then we're going to change around, okay? So if you want to make a start, guys, in 3, 2, 1. Okay, if you want to, if you can come over. If you want to just move over a seat, mate. Okay, we're going to start the timer in 3, 2, 1. Okay, open conversation with your partners, guys. Okay, you got 10 seconds, guys, and then we're going to switch person, okay? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, guys, so now the other person tells you their bits, okay? Okay, in 15 seconds, guys, what I'm going to ask is you guys on the outside, if you can stand up and switch with your partners. Okay, if you're ready, we can go. Nice. Early switch. Okay. Thank you, guys. Introduce yourselves and go. We got a minute. Sorry, do you mind if you just switch? Because we need to, because we need to keep rotating. Okay, sorry, we will switch back. Oh, you switched already? Oh, I thought you were just there. Now that's okay. Okay, you ready, guys? Okay, 10 seconds, guys, and we're going to switch to the other person. Okay, 3, 2, 1. So now the other person explains.
After they speak anything, you just pick them, ask, what is your friend's favorite food?
Okay, in 10 seconds, we're going to stand up and switch our partners, guys. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Okay, stand up, guys, and switch your partners, please. Okay, let's go. Okay, 10 seconds, guys, and then we're going to switch the person. Sorry, mate, I'm going to get a water. Excuse me, can I get this, please? Can I buy this? Ah, thank you. Okay, 10 seconds, guys, then we're going to stand up and switch our partners. Oh, speed. Yeah, speed dating. Okay. Are you done? Okay, we're going to switch partners again, or has everybody been with everybody? No, switch partners. Who hasn't been with who? Ah, speed dating. Okay, good guys. In 10 seconds, guys, we're going to switch who's talking, okay? Okay, switch over, guys, whoever's talking. It's okay, we'll give a bit of time. Sorry. Have you been with everybody now? One more, yeah? That's okay. We got a little bit of more time. Okay, 10 more seconds, guys, and then we're going to do our final switch. Okay, 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Final switch, guys. Sorry, guys. Okay, 10 seconds, guys. You're going to switch person then, or switch who's talking. Okay. Okay, last 10 seconds, guys, and then we're going to go back to our original seats. Okay, thank you, guys. 3, 2, 1, let's wrap it up. Favorite food, speed dating. Okay, everyone can return back. Okay, cool. Thank you, guys. Thank you for participating in that. How cool is food? Yeah? It can really break down barriers with each other, yeah? And it can be something that we share experiences with. Yeah? How many of you had food that shared favorite food? Did anyone have the same favorite food?
Yes, nasi lemak.
Nasi lemak. That's actually my favorite Malaysian food too. So already there you can see things in common with each other. The interesting thing with food, however, is if we need to change our mindset around food. A lot of us eat food subconsciously. Whereas if we look at food as a big macro thing, to get the most out of food, we need to dial in a little bit. We need to understand food a little bit better, okay? And that's what we're going to do today. I'm gonna put a few of you on the spot if you don't mind, and I'm not 100% on the names yet, so I'm gonna ask. Yeah, I should have brought name tags. That's my bad, okay? But I'm gonna ask. Can you remember what was your name? Sorry.
Yuki.
What Yuki's favorite food was?
Tom yum.
Tom yum. Wrong.
Yes.
Or did you change your favorite food? Can you remember, what's your name, sorry?
May.
May, can you remember May's favorite? Curry, what type of curry? Any type of curry. Not a biryani? A masala? Okay, no worries. So not all curries are the same. The composition of curries is different. And that's what we're going to do today. We're going to look at this broad food and we're going to chop it down into macronutrients and then into micronutrients. And hopefully you can have a better understanding of what the composition is of your favorite food. By the end of today, you should be able to look at your plate and no longer just be food. It can be protein, carbohydrate, and fat. Okay, guys? So that's the goal, the big audacious goal. So as I just said then, chunking down first, we need to look at what food is and start reframing it as nutrition. The way that this works is, if we look at it, nutrition is the science that studies the interactions between living organisms and the substances they consume for sustenance. We are the living organisms and the sustenance is the food. However, not all food is equal. We get more value from some food and less value from other food. And that's, again, by looking at your plate, by the end of the day, you should realize, am I getting value out of my plate? Or is this just stuff that's not giving me anything? If it's not giving you anything, it's not going to make you feel better. It's not going to make you healthy. It's not going to give you the vital macro and micronutrients that you need. Okay? So that's the next step from taking food to nutrition. Am I getting value out of what I'm eating, what I'm consuming? Macronutrients is the next phase. Food, nutrition, macronutrients. There are 3 main macronutrients, okay? How many of you have heard of these before? All of us, yeah? Hopefully. So every single bit of food or drink that we ingest is comprised of one of these 3 or a blend of them. Your favorite foods, your curry, yeah, maize curry, probably add some protein in there, a lot of carbohydrates, and a bit of fat in there, okay, depending if you add rice with the curry. So that's a blend. Even the sauces are all made up of other components, mainly fats and ghees and butters, and then other condiments like spices and herbs, okay? So we're going to look at each of these different macronutrients today, and we're going to peel them back and see what they add from a sustenance perspective. What value do they add to us? Okay, is there any questions so far? No? Okay, we're going to have a little game. So if there are questions, to encourage you to ask questions, if you do ask a question, I'm going to give you a card through the workshop, okay? The person with the most cards at the end of the 4-hour workshop, I'm going to send you a gift after. Okay, so there's a little bit of a bribe for you to ask some questions. Please be curious, okay? And please don't think that there's a silly question around nutrition. There's not. There will probably be someone else in the room that is thinking the same thing, so have the courage to ask. So let's go on. First one we're going to look at is protein. The reason we're going to look at protein first is because protein is one of the most under-eaten macronutrients, and it is super important, okay? So protein is made up of amino acids, which a lot of them are essential, which means our bodies don't create it naturally. It means that we have to get it from our diet. We have to ingest it for our body to break it down and then get the value out of it. That's why if we don't have enough protein, we don't have these amino acids, and things start going wrong in our body, and then we're looking at illness and disease, okay? The main roles the protein play in our diet is building and repairing tissue and having good tissue integrity. So it makes our muscles a better composition. It supports our immune system function, which is what fights off diseases and keeps us nice and healthy. Another thing that protein is responsible for is creating enzymes and hormones. So creating enzymes to help us digest things properly, and hormones to keep us feeling sort of healthy as well, feeling vigorous and energetic. So, like I said, protein for me is something that we need to raise awareness of. There's a big movement in the health world about veganism and plant-based diets. They're great if you want to follow that lifestyle, but you have to still get the right ratio of protein in. Okay? I'm never knocking nutrition protocols. That's personal preference. It's similar to religion. But understanding that you have to have the right amount of protein might mean that you have to supplement your food with things like pea protein powder, soya protein powder, so that you get enough protein in to support these different functions. Okay, guys? Any questions so far about protein? No? All good? Okay, the next one we're going to look at is fat. Fat gets a bad rep, guys. Yeah? Everyone's always giving fat a real bit of trouble. But it's actually really, really important that we get the right types of fat in our body. First of all, it stores energy. Our fat cells are what store energy. However, some of us overconsume macronutrients, which means we store excess fat. But there is a reason that we need to have fat cells in our body in case we get sick and we need to rely on those stores of fat. Okay? It cushions our organs. That is healthy fat that cushions and gives our organs linings. This is different though. If we have too many bad fat, we can have something called visceral fat, which can be toxic to our organs, and I'll cover that a little bit later. It helps us insulate the body. We're okay in Malaysia, it's a very temperate climate, but if you go to Europe, it can be bloody cold, and a little bit of extra fat goes a long way, okay? Also, fat helps with the absorption of fat-soluble vitamins and minerals, and we'll cover the vitamins and minerals in the micronutrients later. But it can be very useful in getting the most out of the food that we're eating. The last one then is hormone production, testosterone, estrogen, these things that are vital to us to feel like men and women. Fat is responsible for the production of those hormones. Okay, so this is why fat gets a bad name, bad reputation, because there can be people consider that there are good fats and bad fats. There's nothing inherently good or inherently bad. The hot dog doesn't go out to get you, okay? It's not coming for you. It's not kind of chasing after you. It's just the quantity and the moderation that we consume these fats in that makes it particularly harmful to us, okay? A little bit of these treats every now and again doesn't hurt too much, but too much of it can have issues to our body. On the other side of things though, we've got these monounsaturated and polyunsaturated fats that are really healthy. They're from really good sources, and like I said, they're vital for a healthy us. So if we go on to the next one then, the next macronutrient, so the third out of the big groups is carbohydrates. Protein being the macronutrient that is underconsumed, carbohydrates is the macronutrient that is overconsumed. Yeah, this in society now, all the food options that we have available in the 7-Eleven, protein tends to be more expensive, carbohydrate tends to be very cheap. So this is one of the reasons that carbohydrates is really overconsumed. The main function of carbohydrates is this the primary source of energy for the body, for the muscles and for the brain. However, modern day lifestyle is getting more sedentary. So what we have there is a bit of an issue. We have people over-consuming the macronutrient that gives us energy, and we have people doing less activity, so they're burning less energy. So you have a lot of people storing a lot of fat, okay, and storing a lot of energy. Carbohydrates is not just straightforward either. We've got two different subcategories. So now we've chunked down again. So we've gone food, nutrition, macronutrients, protein, fats, good fats, bad fats, carbohydrates, good carbs, bad carbs. Okay, now we're really starting to get deeper into this. We have over here complex carbohydrates. These are starches and fiber. Think about these as your green leafy vegetables. A lot of the examples I've done on today are around spinaches, broccoli. You can look at asparagus, pak choi. You can look at sweet potato. These are all complex carbohydrates that are very, very important to us. And they give us a lot of nutrients and a lot of benefits. Okay? However, there's another type of carbohydrates. These tend to be processed, manufactured carbohydrates. So you can see this very easily. I can see that grew not very long ago. Yeah, that was in the ground or it was on a tree not so long ago. This here, I'm not quite sure where that came from. That looks like it was grown in a factory, and that is the difference. Okay, so the complex carbohydrates, you can look at a plate of complex carbohydrates and you can say, not long ago that was growing on something or in the ground. If you look at your plate and it's a carbohydrate and you're not quite sure if it grew or if it was in the ground, there's a good chance that that's a heavily processed carbohydrate, and it is a simple carb, and that is a sugar. Okay, this means these type of carbohydrates, again, are not inherently bad. It's the quantity that we consume it in, and they tend to be hollow, meaning other than the sugars in them, there's not many nutritional benefits from having them. They also tend to be quite high in fat, so we need to be aware of this. There is a catch though. The catch is the fruit falls into the simple carbs category. Okay, it falls into the sugars category. So we kind of need to be aware about the amount and the quantity of fruit that we consume. The difference between fruit and the simple carbs is the fruit has a lot of nutritional benefit. Okay, so while these are hollow, these are very rich in micronutrients. So we do need fruit in our diet. It's just the difference between having 1 or 2 pieces of fruit to having a glass of orange juice, which is 10 oranges squashed into one. Okay, again, it's being aware of the quantities and the ratios. Okay, any questions so far? Yeah, please.
So potato chips is made from potato.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's still the myth, they say, yeah, I'm still eating vegetables, but it's in chips form.
Yeah.
Yeah. So so what makes it bad?
So it's a great question, and there's your card, by the way. It's a really good question, guys. So if you imagine, it's not the source that's bad. It's the process it goes through to get to your plate. So the potato, it grew in the ground. It's not an inherently bad vegetable. It's the process that we do to that raw material that makes it bad. What we do to the potato that makes it a little bit more unhealthy is that we chop it up into slices and we deep fat fry it, and then we add a lot of salt to it. So we take a raw material that is not inherently bad, and if we were to eat the potato in a number of ways, we could make it a better option. It's the process that we do to that raw material that makes it less of a good option. If you think about this in an easier way, if you look at your food and your plate, it's quite a cool saying this: if it ran, it grew, it flew, or it swam, and you can identify what that did out of that 4, it's not being processed very much. So the chances of it being contaminated or extra things added to it to make it less nutritious for us are low. So if you look at your plate, did it grow? Did it run? Did it swim? Did it fly? If you can identify what one of those four it did, there's a good chance that it's been processed a number of times, and the things added to it makes it not an easy identification if it's a carbohydrate anymore. Because when you look at the chips, for an example, you take a small sliver of potato, which is a carbohydrate, and then you add a lot of fat. Chips use hydrogenated vegetable oils to cook them in that. So when you look at the composition of the chip, if it was uncooked, it would still just be a potato, a slice of potato. After, you've got a lot of saturated fats in there, and then you also have a lot of salt in there. Okay, so great question. So when you're looking at your food now, think, how many processes have this been through? Have additional macronutrients been added to it? And then that'll give you a good idea. Okay, thank you for the question. Okay, so we've talked about that. So now we're going to play a little bit of a game. Okay, now we're going to get you guys active. In front of you, you will see 3 food containers, and you'll see a deck of cards in there. And really, I don't want to catch you out with this, but there are some tricky ones in there. Okay, so I want you to lay the containers out onto the desk. And you've got your 3 categories of macronutrients, okay? You've got your cards as well. You're already doing exactly what I want you to do, so thank you, mate. I want you to put them in the macronutrient that you think it belongs to. I think there might be one mistake on my card though, okay? I think I might have black beans labeled as pasta. Yeah, this one here, black beans is pasta. That's black beans. But other than that, you're good to go. So, okay, you okay, guys? Okay, I'm going to give you, I think 5 minutes will be good for this, and then we'll discuss. So that's black beans. Yeah, it's a mistake. Thanks. So what I'm looking for here is, some of them, like we said earlier, are a blend of 2. I want you to guess which one is the biggest composition. Some of them, like the cheese, will have 2 types. Oh, there's a bit of debate about a few of these. Nice, good critical thinking going on. Okay, one more minute and then we're going to go through them, guys.
Yes. No. I do this once.
Okay, everybody ready? Everyone done their cards? Okay, there's some tricksy ones there, yeah? There's ones there that I've made difficult. Some of them, believe it or not, are just 1 gram apart. Some of them have a lot of protein and just as much fat near enough. So we're going to talk about that. Is there any on there that were really confusing? Satay? Okay.
Supposedly it's protein, but the way they process the food is become.
There's some fat.
Yeah, very interesting. Depends what it was dipped in. Peanut butter satay is super fatty. However, it is still a protein. Yeah, the majority, the bulk ingredient in the satay is protein. The calamari, yeah. A super tricky one. The calamari, because of the way we processed it, added a hell of a lot of carbs and fat. It's battered calamari. So it was dipped in flour and then fried. What about the crab sticks? So what does a crab do?
This crab stick is flour.
It works, yeah? So it was once a crab. However, you got it. The process of it actually added a lot of starch paste. If you see the process that it goes through to get crab sticks made, I don't think you want to eat it anymore, okay? Apples. What did an apple do? It grew. What does it class as?
Simple carbs.
Simple carbs. It's got fructose in it. It's a sugar. We can have apples. They're healthy. They're full of micronutrients. How many we have? Is there any other types of food on there that were tricky? The burger. Okay. What about a Wagyu burger?
Protein.
Yeah, protein and fats. The main material in a burger is the meat. It depends how much they use. Wagyu burgers tend to make, the reason it's so tasty is because of how much fat to meat ratio it is. Okay? What the steak, so if we think about this, what animal was the steak? A cow. What animal was the burger?
Not sure.
It was the same animal. It was the cow. The steak is straight from the animal. Yeah? The burger was processed by bits of the animal. Which one has the higher fat content? The burger. So you can see just by that one step of processing, the fat composition changes. The burger was another tricky one. There's around 40 grams of protein in the burger, but also around 30 grams of fat. So it's a lot of fat, okay? Is everyone with me? Yeah? So let's go through our trays and see how right we were, okay? Let's go through fat because it's nice and quickly. In your fat tray, you should have peanuts, avocado, butter, sunflower seeds.
Yes.
Yeah. Woo! It got everyone, yeah? Okay. In our protein tray, okay, we should have eggs, salmon, burger, chicken, steak, mussels, satay, cheese. Cheese. Fried calamari, tofu, and caviar. Did anyone get tricked by the cheese?
Yes.
Yeah. We all get tricked by the cheese. That's okay. Okay. Okay, I'm going to go through the protein again nice and quick. Protein: eggs, salmon, burger, chicken, steak, mussels, satay, cheese, fried calamari, tofu, and caviar. I don't know whoever has caviar. I've never had it in my life, but it's good to know that it's an egg of an animal. Any egg of an animal is protein. Okay? Okay, last category is your carbs. In our carbs should be yogurt. Yogurt is close to protein, and there's also different types of yogurt. There's low-fat yogurt and high-protein yogurt, but normal yogurt tends to be carbs. No, so lentils is in the carb category, okay? Okay, I'm going to go through your carbs. You've got yogurt, apples, lentils, black beans, bread, pasta, grapes, fries, broccoli, crab sticks, baked beans, chicken nuggets. Even though it's called chicken nuggets, the amount of processing that happens to it turns what we normally think is a protein into a carb. Similar to the crab sticks, they add a lot of paste and fillers to it. So be careful with that. Rice, potatoes, spinach, mushrooms is an interesting one. Mushrooms is very low in all of them. It's just more carbohydrate than protein, but not a lot of nutritional value in mushrooms. They're more tasty, they're more texture-based things, but there's not a lot of nutritional value in them. It's very similar to celery. Celery has a lot of taste, very little nutritional value other than the fiber. The fiber that in the mushroom and the celery helps bind our food and gets the most out of it. Next one then, curry puff, a Malaysian delicacy, roti canai, hummus, banana fritters, even though they're really tasty, very high in carbs and very high in saturated fats. So like the curry puff, fried, lots of carbs and very high amounts of fat. Last one then is noodles. Who doesn't like a good noodle? Yeah? Okay. How many of you, if you were to give your score out of 10, what would you say you scored out of 10? 8? Nice.
8.5.
Oh! What would you say you scored?
Not keeping the score.
So out of 10, if you were to grade yourself, do you think you did well or poorly? 6. That's a very objective, modest 6, yeah? Okay. So there's room for improvement, yeah? And don't worry, when I was putting these together, I had to Google some of them. I was like, oh, sugar, what is that? What is the higher macro? Okay, so if we're going to move on, ready guys? So any questions come from that? Have anyone got any questions? Yeah? Peanuts are in fat. Peanuts is not actually a nut, it's a legume, okay? But it's very high in fat, a good fat, okay? It's just the quantity that we need, that we should be considering. Unfortunately, nuts are one of the things that we get overfed. A small amount of nuts is very high in fat and very, very calorific. However, they put them normally with lots of salt, which makes us dehydrate, makes us want to drink more and eat more. And we eat them fast because they're small. So be aware of nuts. They are full of good fat, but we only need a little bit of it. Okay?
So if we have, say, peanut butter,
Yeah?
without adding the
What? So that's a great question.
is it a good cholesterol
What is, so in your tray, what is the other type of fat that you have in your tray?
Sunflower seed.
You said peanut,
Sunflower seed.
Avocado.
butter. So you've just said peanut butter. You've added one very high fat thing to another very high fat thing. So what you've got to do, peanut butter is not inherently bad. It does process. Butter, where does butter come from? Milk. It takes a raw material, it processes that raw material to get all the fat content out to make the butter, and then it combines that with a nut, and it processes the nuts and combines them to make one super high fat product. So we've got to be aware that we've almost got like rocket fuel of fat there, so we only need a little bit of it. Not saying don't eat it, saying be aware of the quantities of butter. Should we spread it all over our toast, have it in donuts like we do? Probably not. Can we have a little teaspoon here and there, nice and tasty? Yeah. Unfortunately, they pack peanut butter, because it's a cheap produce, they pack it in massive tubs. If peanut butter came in a small condiment packet, that would be better. Think about quality rather than quantity. Okay, but great question. Okay, so let's move on. Anyone got any other questions? Black beans. So black beans is another one that is mainly carbohydrate, but it does have a lot of protein in there too. Okay, it also has a lot of fiber in there. Okay. Okay, so these are some useful acronyms. You have your folder, and you're free to take the folders away with you so you can refer to these going forward. I love acronyms. I hope you appreciate that they can make our job a lot easier. So MEND is a great acronym to remember if this is on a protein on my plate. So the M stands for meat. Remember, if it runs, it swims, or it flies. Chicken, beef, pork, lamb, turkey, everything like that. Eggs, like we said, if it's an egg of a creature, it's a protein. Nuts do have good protein amounts. Do I use a lot of nuts to get protein from? No, because they're also very high in fat. So I can use nuts to supplement my protein intake, but I don't rely on them for protein really. I'm aware that they have a high protein content, similar to the beans. If I needed to get all my protein from beans, I would have to eat a whole table full of beans. I'm much better getting my protein from meat sources. Okay, last one then is dairy. Dairy is a source of protein, so any sort of lactate from an animal, from a goat, from a cow, whatever else you might want to lactate from an animal, there's a good chance that it's going to have a high protein content, because the baby animals are the same as us. They need protein, carbohydrate, and fat. So the milk of the mother is giving the baby protein, carbohydrate, and fat. Okay, so milk has all three macronutrients in it. However, the milk that we consume, the milk that we get from cows, we need to think about this again in ratios. The milk from a cow is designed to get a small calf to the size of a cow. We are not a small calf, and we don't need to be the size of a cow. So the amount of milk we should drink, again, should be in ratios. If we're drinking pints of milk, there's a good chance that we're going to be a size of a cow pretty soon. Okay, if we're not careful, if we're not managing our energy balance. Okay, so a useful acronym to help you identify your protein. If we did this test again, hopefully at the end of this workshop, you're scoring 10, you're scoring 10, you're scoring 8. I'm only joking. You're scoring 10. So let's go on. So acronyms for fats. A nice acronym for fat to help you identify fats is avocado. Funnily enough, the top one, avocado, you all identified it correctly, is a fat. Okay? Even though it's a vegetable and it grows. So a lot of the vegetable oils that we use, they're all processed down from vegetables and they're made into that oil. We were very surprised at the sunflower seeds, yeah? However, if you think about it logically, the sunflower seeds is sunflower oil. It's also a lot of the margarines that we use are squeezed down into the oil, and then that is condensed into a fat or a butter or just a raw oil. Okay, so when we think of the macronutrients logically, when we know the processes, we can easily identify which one they fall into. Oily fishes, even though the fishes are primarily protein, certain proteins have higher fat contents. Yeah? We've got salmon, mackerel and trout are all high in fat. They're high in fat a lot of the time because of the climates that they live in. The ocean's bloody freezing, isn't it? It's cold. Especially if you go to Scandinavia, those salmon have got to have high fat content. Remember, because fat insulates. Yeah, it's the same rule for them. They're just insulating themselves, and then we're eating them, insulating themselves. So they have high amounts of oil in it. Coconuts, coconut oil, coconut milk, also high in fat. We've discussed the nuts, the dairy, and the omega-3 found in the different types of seeds and walnuts. So another nice, useful acronym for the fats. Any questions on this?
I
Yeah.
have an interesting one for you.
Yeah, please.
Because we are living in the tropical
Yeah.
as well as the equatorial area.
Yeah.
So is it more favorable for us to eat salmon and mackerel compared to the people staying in Scandinavia or Arctic area?
That is such a good question. Honest to God, that is, and it's a huge topic in itself. So if we look even just 150 years ago, the food choices that we have would be drastically different because we couldn't ship them around the world. We couldn't refrigerate them, okay? So should we look at food types that are based on our area? There is a whole theory around people being closer to the equator being more sensitive to carbohydrates. Okay, so however way we look at nutrition these days, it's a luxury. It's a luxury. It was even 150 years ago. Now, our choices of food, we need to be far more conscious about. Because just 150 years ago, we would have ate whatever we could have got our hands on. It would have been seasonal vegetables. It would have been animals that we'd reared or the farmers had reared locally. It wouldn't have been mass-produced or farmed fish from Scandinavia. So again, should you be conscious? You should be conscious about everything you consume. And you should look, if you're not feeling right, you should look at your food for the cause of that. So let's say you have a bit of a bad stomach. You think, what did I eat? How deep do you look at that? So for me, for example, I don't want to overshare, but rich spices like maize curry, that is very rich for me. I'm not from India or Malaysia. That's a lot of the times it's 50-50, whether my stomach bacteria and the biome in my stomach can manage it. The interesting thing about our adaptation, so as a race, as a human species, we're very adaptable. We are omnivores. We eat anything and everything that gives us nutritional value. So our bodies adapt very quickly, okay? So effectively, should you be conscious about where the food come from? Yeah, you should. You should look at your plate and think, where did this come from? Because if it is from far away, and it's the first time that your stomach bacteria are experiencing it, they might say, ugh, what's this?
Something foreign.
It's something foreign. And they might make you feel unwell. There's a good chance, however, though, that they will adapt pretty quickly. So the second time that you have it, the body will just say, oh, this is just that thing again. It's okay. This is just another type of protein, fat, or carbohydrate. So it will break it down to the macronutrient. Your body is very, very amazing. But this is where we also need to be aware about things like fruits and vegetables and stuff like that. Similar, like you said, should we be worried about Arctic salmon from Scandinavia because we're based in Malaysia? Yeah, we should. We should also be worried about the fruit because of a lot of the fruit from Jamaica or West Indies or wherever it might be is very different types of fruit. Cherries, there's all the different types of food that we're ingesting from around the world now is a very new phenomena based around transport improving, the Industrial Revolution, refrigeration, stuff like that. So have a look on your plate, know where it came from, know the macronutrient, and know if it's the first time that you've experienced it, your internal biology might say, whoa, this is new. It doesn't mean don't ever eat it again. It just means that you need to build up a tolerance to the new type of food. It's a really great question, mate, and it's a massive topic. Yeah, please.
You mentioned about coconuts. How about the coconut water and also the fresh? Will it fall under the same category or?
Yeah, it does pretty much.
Yes.
If you see what happens to a coconut water will go through a process. So it's the seed ripening. Okay, so a coconut is the seed of a coconut tree. If you leave a coconut long enough, the water inside will solidify and it becomes like a paste, and then it goes hard, and then that seed will germinate. Okay, so it's made up of the same stuff, which is a high sugar. It's a type of sugar. The majority of fruits are high sugars. Okay, so they're those simple carbs. Yeah, it's a really great question though. It's just at what point in that seed's process are you ingesting the sugars? Some of the fruits as well, the amount of sugar increases as the fruit gets riper. So if you will know this, because if you eat a fruit that's not ripe, it'll actually taste a bit bitter. Yeah, that's because the ripening process of that fruit is not, it hasn't developed enough, so the fructose level in that fruit is not high. Why do we want it sweet?
It tastes nice.
Why?
Because animal will eat
Produce
it,
hormones.
And then what?
and they will defecate, then seed, and then they will grow another tree.
You got it. Great answer there, mate. It's exactly why. They increase the sugar, so the animals see it, it'll be bright in color, the animals will eat it. Animals are not as fussy as us. They don't cut the seeds out. They don't eat the apple around the seeds, they just eat the whole thing. And then along with the seed being traveling further away, it'll also be surrounded in a nice pocket of poo that is full of nitrogen and nutrients for that seed to grow. I don't know what animal will eat a coconut though to poo that out, but it's the same process. It's almost like the coconut is fertilizing itself. Another great question though. Yeah?
Is it better to eat a sour mango than a fully ripe mango?
Personal preference.
Because of the sugar contained, I mean the lactose contained?
It's minute. I mean, like, this is photosynthesis, it's minute quantities. It's a couple of grams, but it's palatable to us. It's personal preference. It's if you like it a bit more bitter or if you like it a bit more sweet. But the composition changes just a little bit.
But it still have
Yeah,
a raw mango.
yeah. Still got a lot of sugar in it, okay? Okay, we good to go, guys? Okay, we've looked at the carbohydrates now, so simple carbohydrates. I think you've got a really good grasp of this already. Tend to be the sugars. We've got the man-made sugars, the candy, the soda, and then we've got the natural sugars like honey and fruits. Then we've got the complex carbohydrates, which are cereals and grains, and then lots of vegetables and legumes. Any questions on this before we move on? Nope? Okay. What I've done in your booklet is I've given you a library of proteins. I've also given you a library of carbohydrates and a library of fats, okay? So you can refer to that. You can also refer to that when we do the next activity. Anyone need any help, guys? You okay? All in deep thought, yeah? Nice. Okay?
Okay, we've got 10 minutes, guys. Everyone okay, guys? Anyone need any help? No? Nice. Okay, last 5 minutes, guys. finishing that. Yeah. Sorry for the fail on the pans and the plates. Okay, I think everyone's just about finished, yeah? May you want a little bit more time? No? Okay. Okay, so on a scale of 1 to 10, how difficult was that? Very difficult, yeah? So don't worry, it gets easier. Now you're dialed into the macronutrients, it gets much easier and it gets much less boring too. If you look at the plates now, I'm sure you're kind of like, I don't really want to eat that. Yeah? It's like, that's boring food. You do get more creative the better your understanding of the macronutrients get. Okay? Just to give you an example of what I mean. So, who likes Mexican food? Is Mexican food boring? No, it's proper tasty. Yeah? Does anyone have fajitas on their list?
No.
No. Fajitas can be a very well-balanced macro meal. Yeah? If we look at the approach, I've got chunks of chicken, steak or prawns. Yeah? I've got complex carbohydrates. I've got my onions, my mushrooms, my bell peppers in there. My fat, I've got a bit of fat in there because I've cooked the meat probably in an oil, coconut oil I've said for this. A bit geeky going with coconut oil, but I could have cooked it in butter, whatever. And then my simple carbs come from the wrap itself. What adds the Mexican gist to that is the peppers and the spices and the condiment stuff that I add in. So that's just one example of how you can take a effectively boring group of raw materials and make them quite nice and tasty. Anyone got an omelette on theirs? Fried egg, you got fried egg? An omelette as well. Anyone like omelettes? Yeah, they're tasty, isn't it? They're a nice macro balanced meal. You can have, I've got 6 eggs in mine. 6 eggs would be 36 grams of protein in 6 eggs.
Would that include the egg yolk?
The egg yolk, a lot of people, so the egg yolk is slightly fattier. A lot of people get worried about the cholesterol issues coming with the egg yolk. Can you have 2 egg yolks in there and take out full egg yolks? If you want. I don't, I leave them in there. Because then I don't have to worry about adding any fats in later. The rest of my omelette is pretty healthy. So my omelette, if I go through it, 6 eggs with the yolk, I'm not too worried. I would rather have 6 yolks than have a breakfast of rubbish. A McDonald's breakfast. I would much rather worry about some yolks than a chicken sandwich or a whatever. Yeah? So I'm not worried about yolks, I'm okay with that. Then if I go to my complex carbs in my omelette, I add in onions, peppers. I think you can add a little bit of spinach in there, you can get creative. My fat comes from the yolks, so that's all good. I'll even, cheeky, whatever, have a cappuccino with it. My cappuccino with my sugar will be my carbs. Okay? So there's just another example. Does anyone want to present a meal that you think everyone would want to eat? So who would like to present a meal for 3 cards? Oh, yes!
But I don't think
Okay.
comment is not because actually I'm actually practicing vegetarian for 1
That's okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's have a look.
So for breakfast, 2 eggs. And berries, sometimes, yeah, strawberry or some fruits like apple also can. And actually almonds, sometimes yes, sometimes no for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. And
So pretty good. Yeah, pretty good. The eggs were.
boiling.
Yes, that's okay.
Boy.
Yeah, I would maybe add a little bit more. Okay, so
put 3 eggs.
yeah, maybe 3 eggs.
But I have
Yeah.
egg in my dinner.
You have what, sorry?
So in my
Egg in your dinner. That's okay. So remember, so
So
if
that
you
all
look
is
at your
nice.
pan,
Yeah.
yeah. So how many? Maybe you're right. Maybe 2 eggs would be okay. Yeah. I looked at my hand and then you looked at That's okay. Maybe you're right. I stand corrected. Okay. Okay. So next one.
Sorry, Mike.
Yeah.
On the eggs, how would you actually measure it based on the egg that is being cracked or the?
No, I don't think the
So this goes back to the cross-sectional area and the length. So my kind of pan there, I think of it as cooked weight. So I think of it like cooked weight. So how is that going to look cooked? So if it's scrambled eggs, I'm looking at that. What does a lump of scrambled egg look like? How many eggs do I need to do that? If these are hard-boiled eggs, yeah, looking at your hand, 2 is probably still a little bit of a push, but it should be okay. So whenever I'm looking at these quantities, I'm thinking of cooked weight or cooked size. A lot of food as well starts off big, and then when you cook it, it shrinks. Yeah, so I always think about cooked weight. But great question, and thank you for that. It's a good pickup. Okay, after you, mate.
So for my lunch, okay, this is broccoli and sweet potato and apples and this one tofu
Yeah,
and this one and then
edamame beans, yeah?
yeah.
Nice.
So yeah.
A great choice on the tofu. So tofu is very high in protein. Nice.
Because because of practicing veggies.
Yeah.
So and then for my dinner, I would like to have a little bit heavy. If not, I will tend to have supper. So I will have basmati rice and also or brown rice because the reason being my mom actually having tattoo that is this since I think first diagnosed last year, end of last year. So because of that, so I become more aware and tend to practice more healthier diets. That's why I switched to either basmati rice or brown rice. So and also fried egg and very good example just now you add on the omelette. So maybe I can change that lah, maybe twist a little bit. Yeah. So soybean milk
Okay.
and spinach, yeah, vegetable.
Nice.
Yeah. And the fried spinach, not the blanched one. Not
Okay.
the normal steamed one, yeah. And banana can have or cannot have. Yeah, maybe a little bit, maybe after dinner, then maybe I will take bananas or some kinds of fruits.
Yeah.
This is normally usual my dinner.
Nice. Brilliant, mate. Three really well-deserved cows. I think you agree. So how do you think you would feel if you did this for a month? If you ate these 3 meals for a month, how do you think you would feel?
That day I tried to eat. Okay, so far I get used to it already because not that clean lah for 2 months, but okay lah, consider okay.
Nice. And is there anything on here that you are now doing that you've considered to do that you're not currently doing? Have you added anything?
Lunch, maybe lunch not that clean. Yeah,
Okay.
I will start to practice more. Yeah.
Okay.
Nice. Lunch. Yeah.
So very well done there, guys. That's a perfect execution. Thank you very much.
Any questions?
I will add something that you brought a really good point up about the type 2 diabetes. So, as we mentioned, the lifestyle choices is a massive factor there. So, to share with you, my mum actually got diagnosed with type 2 diabetes, and we fully reversed it. We fully reversed her type 2 diabetes by really dialing down on nutrition and increasing exercise. So there's something called a GLUT4 carrier protein that is activated when you do like moderate to high intensity exercise that then helps with insulin sensitivity. So my mum went from type 2 to completely back the other way. Her problem was eating way too many simple carbohydrates. So that's what we look at. You did a great job. You've done a really, really good job there of creating a balanced protocol for your food. The one thing I would add is with the vegetarian lifestyle, as we said before, you've always got to be aware of the protein. You've always got to be, if your energy levels go up, you may have to look at adding some protein in, but you can add protein in the forms of powder to your meals. So you can have pea protein, or remember the top of the pyramid, you can supplement. Okay? But anyone else want to cover, or are we good to move on? Everyone okay? Okay, so like we just discussed, guys, I'll just get this off. The more you practice this and the more awareness you have around it, the easier it becomes to construct the meals. Or not completely reinvent the wheel. It might just be a case of looking at the meal that's in front of you and choosing not to have parts of it. And that's something that I'll do regularly. If I go out and it's a big gathering of people and we're all having food, I don't want to say no. I don't want to say there's nothing on here that I can eat. It's just moderating what I'm having. Okay, so it gives you that control. Okay, we're going to do a little quiz now. Just a little summary of this section, and we're going to do it on the cards, fastest finger first. Okay, so we've done the presenter plate. I mentioned earlier that if we were to have, if the men using this principle, guys, if you ate your 3 plates, you would fall between 2,500 and 3,200, roughly, based on the different types of macros. Ladies, if you were to have 3 to 4 meals a day, you would fall between 1,800 and 2,400. So it already, without having to count calories, which is another method of nutrition control, it already auto-regulates that for you, that technique, okay? We mentioned before, the other method is to do macro counting. That's effectively doing what we've just done, using our hands, but more dialed in, more specifically, and that's using apps like MyFitnessPal. My experience with that is very few people do it. Unless they're really off the chart, analytical and blue as personalities, people just can't be asked. People don't want to every meal have to type it in and track everything by the numbers. A visual aid like our hand is much easier to just look at and do a quick calculation, okay? Okay, so mini quick section. Fastest hands up. Name 2 reasons why we should consider a macro ratio. Anyone want to go? Yeah.
Easier to count.
Yeah? So easier to moderate. What else?
More practical.
More practical. I'll take that. Okay, so that question probably could be rephrased. So name 2 reasons why we should consider a macro ratio. These are the reasons that we gave at the start. These were our health and our all those factors that we should consider. So I probably should have rephrased the question. How many pounds of protein per meal should a man have? Yeah.
2.
Nice. Happy days. Quick on that. How many tons of fat per meal should a woman have?
1.
Yes. Okay. Okay. How many calories on average should a man have per day? Yeah. Oh, she beat me to it.
2,500.
Nice. Easy. And the ladies? Yeah. Yay. Happy days. How many of us knew that before today?
I know some, but it's not so easy to practice.
That's okay. So now we got a better idea, yeah? Okay. Okay guys, we're going to have a 10-minute break and then we're going to move on to the last part then. Okay? Any questions before we wrap up that section? No? Okay, cool.
If you don't answer, still wait for it.
They take your time, you've got a minute. Thank you. Okay guys, we're going to move on to the next section now. So the next section is nutrition and physical activity and the relationship between the both of them. Okay, so if we look at the sort of health pyramid, we spoke about sort of the energy balance with calories in and calories out. We've got the nutrition and hydration now rightly down the bottom. And then the next part of it, we've got physical activity and exercise. So even if we ate all the right foods, but we didn't move, we would be very unhealthy, okay? So our movement is our medicine. So we always have to be aware of the relationship between our nutrition and our movement, our physical exercise. Going up then, sleep hygiene, stress management, mental and emotional well-being, social connection, preventative checkups. Remember we said that all the benefits of having a macronutrient balanced meal protocol helps with sleep, helps with stress management, helps with mental, emotional well-being. I'm sure the more mentally and emotional stable we are, that will help our social connections and so on. So we can see that down here we've covered the nutrition. Now we're going to have a little look at the physical activity and the exercise. So what is the link between the two? Does anyone want to have a guess?
Yes.
Yeah?
When you eat right, then you only have the energy.
Yeah, that's pretty good. That's a pretty good start there, yeah? Yeah?
It's the perfect lifestyle already.
That's the perfect lifestyle.
Yeah.
Yeah? So it's one without the other is very difficult. So they're almost interdependent. If we look at this, it goes back to this. So if we want to have a physical, active life, and our energy expenditure goes up, so our request on the body goes up, the food that we take in becomes much more important. So if we look at this another way, supply and demand. The more that we demand from our body, the more important the nutrition becomes. The demand is our version of performance. Remember we said that performance for everyone looks different. Some of our demands are playing sport at a really high level. Some of it is just playing a bit of squash on the weekend. Some of us is cleaning the house without feeling like we're going to die. Yeah? The demand for everyone is a bit different. But the more we demand of our body, the more we need to look at our macronutrient breakdowns. So, if the current demand on our body, if we don't feel right, then we do the root cause analysis and we got to look at the supply. We got to look at, are we giving our body the right types of macronutrients to help us with the current demand? When we look at physical activity, I've broken this down for simplicity. Okay, physical activity, there is so many different categories. Even in here, we've got aerobic exercise, strength training, flexibility, balance and stability, everyday activities. Okay, a lot of sports can fall into those two categories. Different types of strength training, power training, whatever it might be, or different sports might have bits of aerobic training and anaerobic training, but they tend to fall in these different categories. Each one of these has different types of demands on our body. Okay? So if we go on from here, aerobic exercise or cardiovascular exercise, some examples are running or jogging, walking briskly, cycling, swimming, dancing, aerobic classes. This tends to be for longer durations, okay, at a moderate intensity, so low to moderate intensity. It requires a lot of energy, but it doesn't really damage the body too much. So that's good to be aware of. It damages the body over time if it's not maintained and we're not giving ourselves the right recovery and nutrition, but it's not initially too damaging to the body. Strength training, you're looking at weightlifting, bodyweight exercises, resistant band training, functional strength training, some powerlifting. This can be quite damaging to the body on the muscles. The way that we build muscles is by breaking them down and then rebuilding them bigger. It's called the SAID principle, specific adaptation to an imposed demand. That word demand again. Okay? Next type is flexibility. We're looking at things like stretching, yoga, Pilates. These things are very sort of not taxing on the body, very low intensity, working on the joint flexibility. They don't require that much energy to do, and they're not that damaging, so they don't require too much repair afterwards. They can leave you feeling sore, but it's a different type of soreness, okay? It's not muscle damage soreness. Balance and stability, these can be all sorts of different things, balancing on one leg, or a lot of sports require a lot of balance work. This is very taxing on the nervous system, but not too taxing on the energy system. Okay, so it doesn't require loads of carbohydrates. Now, last one then is everyday activities, also known as non-exercise activity thermogenesis. Lots of words, yeah? This is effectively all the activities that we do that are not intentional exercise. They do require fuel though. So if we're cleaning the house, or we're moving properties, or we're going to pick the kids up from school, or we're taking the dog for a walk, all that does require fuel. It's just not an intentional type of exercise. So why is it important to look at these, do you think?
These exercises that you can do it every day.
Yeah.
You don't need to allocate time for it.
Yeah, so that's it. So remember that basic metabolic rate. These activities kind of fall into basic metabolic rate. These are the activities day to day. However, some days are much more busy than other days, isn't it? Some days we just sat in working on the computer. Other days we don't have to go to meetings, we have to go to visit clients. That our days change. And that's why it's important that we need to know this. We need to know that life is like up and down, and our energy requirements day to day are up and down. We can't just apply the meal protocol the same every single day. We need to move with the physical activity that we do, okay? Knowing that, we know how to manipulate our macronutrients. We remember from what carbohydrates do. Carbohydrates give us fuel, protein repairs us. So now we know that day to day, our body, our demand, is going to demand extra things from us, and we can supply it with the right fuels and material. So this is what that looks like, guys. How do we maintain the balance? We do it with a strategy, okay? All right, Nick? We do it with a strategy. So this person's week, this is a very active person's week, yeah? My week don't even look like this, and I love the gym and I love fitness. So, but it points a big picture, okay? It points a good picture. This one here, aerobic exercise, yeah? What do you think we'll need? Do you think we'll need lots more protein or lots more carbs? Yeah, we need some fuel for this, don't we? So in our meals for that day, we might add in a little bit of carbs based around when we have that workout. We may need a little bit of protein, and then after that, we might add a bit of protein in our meal because there might be some muscle repair needed. What about this day? This is a little chilled day, walking the dog. Can probably keep our calories the same, probably keep our meals the same. This next day, lifting crazy weights, yeah, protein day. We need some fuel before the workout, and we need protein after for sure, because there's going to be a lot of damage on the body. So this day here, Thursday, she's just chilling her beans. She's doing absolutely nothing. What might we do here? That is something that we can look at, yeah? So on a day like this, what we do tend to do is the opposite of what we're supposed to do. We tend to eat a lot of calories on these days. When what we're supposed to do when our activity levels drop is adjust our calories accordingly. Yeah? So this lady here, she's chilling her beans. If we look at our meals that we've constructed, we may actually want to take out some of those simple carbohydrates. We don't need them. Next one then, weightlifting again, similar thing. Up our carbohydrates before, add some protein after so that we recover. Same on Saturday. Sunday then, we're going to be chilling a little bit, okay? So what does that look like? This is called macronutrient cycling. This is where you guys now have the awareness and the ability to adjust your macro meals based on your activity. And you can use this strategy to help you with your individual performance. Okay, so we're going to come on to a little bit more of a fun bit now. So when we look at all these things, people say about physical activity, there's a big stigma around it. People say, well, I don't like weightlifting, I don't like that, I don't like this. The big question is, what everyone wants to know is, what's the best type? What's the best type that's going to give me the healthiest lifestyle? Okay? The truth and the studies suggest that it is functional training. Functional resistant training. So what this does with your body and what defines functional training. The reason it's found to be the best is because it's multidimensional and world, it's applicable to our everyday life. Okay? So it keeps us active, it's a good mix between strength training, aerobic training, anaerobic training, and it ticks a lot of boxes. Okay? So real world biomechanics. This is a really good example of how many of us have been on long haulage flights. Probably all have, yeah? So we know we've sat down for 8 hours, and we're like, ugh. And then we've got to go and collect our baggage from the carousel. Our normally 25, 30 kilo bag from the carousel. There is so many back injuries because of this, you wouldn't believe. Because we've been sat down, inactive for too long, and we never resistance train ourselves to do this movement. First of all, manual handling guidelines these days, 20 to 25 kilos. We stuff our baggage to get it, so it's 29.9 kilos on the limit, yeah? We fill everything in there, and then we expect ourselves to be able to lift them off the baggage carousel. So functional training is really, really useful because it trains us for real world situations. It challenges us in ways that life challenges us. Our kids run at us. Our kids don't know that we haven't trained for 2 years. They run at us and they jump, and we've got to catch them. We've got to balance, we've got to stabilize, and we're looking like, holy shit. So functional training allows us to use movements that can prepare us for real life, okay? Another thing, like we just said, multi-planar. So functional training or functional physical activity is forward and back, side to side, and rotational. So when we're doing our physical activity, that's how we should be training, that's how we should be exercising. We should be challenging ourselves in these multi-planar ways, because that's how life works. You take the dog for a walk, your dog sees another dog, and it yanks us over there, yeah? We should be looking at these exercises and physical activities and practicing them. Another one is multi-joint. So a lot of activities, if you're going to think about physical activities, we don't work joint by joint. We work as an integrated system. So multi-joints are working at the same time. You okay, mate? The next part then is integrating the core. One of the biggest issues we have these days is a lot of posture issues with people with lower back injuries. And that's because we're not integrating exercises or physical activities that use the core muscles. Using a stand-up desk is a great example of how to do that from a physical activity perspective. In other words, standing or kneeling. We should be doing activities that are standing or kneeling. And if we can, we should be loading our body. We should be adding some sort of resistance to our body, because that resistance will stop our muscles wasting away. There's something called sarcopenia, which is use it or lose it. If even if we give ourselves the right macronutrients and we don't use a muscle, it will reduce in cross-sectional area. That's muscular atrophy. It will reduce. So we should be using some sort of functional activity regime to use our muscles using free weights, not machines and fixed stationary objects, okay? So what we're going to go through now, we're going to do it. The reason Lee Chin asked you to wear comfortable clothes is because I'm going to teach you some. I'm going to teach you some of these functional training patterns or fundamental movement patterns so that you're aware of it. And you can do this without a gym. You can do this in the comfort of your home, and you can do it with basic resistance. When it was COVID, beep, 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 that word, we didn't have access to gyms. We were using water bottles as our resistance. And what we were doing were these fundamental movement patterns, okay? Has anyone seen these before? Yeah? So some of us know them, some of them don't, okay? So these are, if any of us are struggling with like the best movements to give us the most return on our investment, this is it. This is how we challenge our bodies in a way where we have a really good balanced physical activity protocol. So the first one, so I'd like you all to stand up, guys. We're going to get it active on this one. The first one we're going to look at is a hinge. So remember, we said that these movement patterns are applicable to real life, yeah? So these are things that we do on a day-to-day basis. Pick up something from the floor. Who's got kids? Yeah? How many times do you pick them up a day? Millions. Uncountable. Okay. So practicing these reps, yeah? Okay, so the hinge is a movement where we move at the hips. Okay? So a lot of the time, when we bend down like this. And see my back? My back is going to be damaged if I do that. Okay, so when we're looking at the hinge, what we focus on is keeping a nice flat back, keeping a neutral spine, and breaking at the hip. So we push our bum back. Okay? Then that keeps our back safe. We get to a point where our hands are in line with our knees, and then we can bend down and pick something up from the floor. Okay? So again, remember, so going forward now in your life, if you've got something heavy on the floor that we need to pick up, our first movement is hips back, hands past the knees, bend down, and then you use your strong muscles, your legs, to push up. You don't bend up. Okay? So there's number one. That's the hinge. When you do the hinge, you should feel a stretch in your bum and your hamstrings. Those are our big, powerful muscles. And those muscles are what protect our back. Okay, so that's number one, hinge. Number two is similar. Number two is a squat. And sometimes people get this confused. But we squat all the time. We sit down and stand up all the time. However, if I turn this to the side, what tends to happen is we do this. Oh, do you know what? My back's killing me. My back's killing me. The difference between a hinge and a squat is that the bend at the hip and the knees start at the same time. So instead of going hips, down, knees, it is knees and hips at the same time. Good. Perfect. What we're focusing on here too is having a healthy spine angle. So the bad one that I showed you, like this, what we do when we squat is keep a nice safe back. We go down and then we stand up. And we focus on driving through our heels and keeping nice and tall with our torso. If you feel this area squashing down and getting smaller, we're not in a good position. And that's applicable to the hinge and the squat. Because that means we're bending our back. So on the hinge and the squat, this distance needs to stay the same. Okay? So, we now have the hinge and the squat. You can do hinge patterns, and you can do variations with this, picking it up, as many as you want. You can add water bottles, you can use your baby if you want, it's up to you, okay? And you can start using the muscles, using these muscles. The next one is a lunge. So, I'll give you an alarming statistic. Do you know what the biggest killer of over 60-year-olds is? Falling. So that's, first of all, you're the first person that I've asked that has known that answer, and that's the root cause answer. The killer is circulation issues that are caused from an innocuous fall. People fall when they're 60 and they break a bone, normally a hip or a shoulder or a wrist, and that makes them get incapacitated. It means that they can't walk around. When they can't walk around, their circulation issues start happening. They get pneumonia or heart disease, whatever it might be. So, also acknowledgement. One of the ways that we can stop that is by practicing the lunge pattern. Because the lunge takes us from being in this normal, stable position to a unilateral position or a split stance. This forces us to balance a bit more. Okay, so an example of a lunge pattern would be stepping up a big step. Okay, if we can step up a big step without wobbling, we're in a high risk category. We're in a risk of people that if we fall, we hurt ourselves, our health issues go up. Remember, energy expenditure and food, that's the balance again. So we protect ourselves. So a lunge pattern is forward, back, or side to side. So we can go forward and down and up, or we can go backward, down and up, or even laterally down and up. Okay, so do you want to practice those, guys? Give yourself a little bit of space. When we're looking at this, again, we're thinking about this length. We're thinking about staying nice and tall and staying upright, okay, not bending. We're also thinking about keeping our foot planted on the floor and preventing our knee from doing this. We want our knee to be facing straight, up and down, okay? So that's the lunge. A great way to train this, a study has suggested recently that if you only do this in the morning 10 times and combine this with putting your socks on standing up, reduces the chance of you falling by something like 70 to 80%. So just doing some lunges, 10 lunges each side, and putting your socks on helps your proprioception and your balance so that you've got a much lower chance of falling and then becoming another health statistic. Okay, so that's the lunge. So all of those movements are really beneficial, big compound movements for our lower body, okay? The next one is an upper body movement, and that is a push. We've got variations of horizontal pushes and vertical pushes, okay? An example would be, we go and push the door open, okay? Go and push the door open. It might be that we're lying on our side and we have to push ourselves to get out of bed, okay? So that is an example of a vertical and horizontal push. Hardly anyone trains this, by the way, okay? When I speak to clients and I put them on strength tests, they're incredibly weak in this motion here. We can help ourselves a lot by having issues with our shoulders and our posture by just doing some of this. We can do it even on the desk. We can hold ourselves and go to a range of motion that we're comfortable with, and then we can increase and get stronger that way. Okay? So the next one is a vertical pull. So one of the biggest things I see is something called urbanization now. It's where we've been sat down and we look on our phones and we do this. And then we get a lot of headaches, we get a lot of migraines. A lot of this is because we don't train enough pull exercises. Okay, so this is where we need to think about pulling horizontally, but also pulling vertically. Okay, I'll give you a little feel for this. So these bands, guys, are super cheap. I got this one in Mr. DIY, and this can be a great tool to use for a lot of different exercises. So if you hold that, I'll give you you can try it. Okay. So this is an example of a horizontal pull, where what I'm going to ask you to do is take your shoulders down and back. Okay. Already, while that's done, is make her stretch her chest out, get her shoulders in a nice good position, and it will help her posture. Okay, so if any of us are getting headaches or a stiff neck, this can really help. Now what I want you to do, take your elbow and drive your elbow back. Nice, perfect. And then extend your arm, so come back out, and then do the other side. So perfect. So what she's done there is used all the big muscles in her back, or the upper back, and she's stabilizing that shoulder girdle. And if she does that over time, that'll help her with her posture and if she did have headaches. Another thing you did automatically without even asking her, which is brilliant, she did it one arm at a time. Yeah, so you can do it both, but one arm at a time will actually increase the demand on your core. So that'll help you even further, that'll help strengthen your core. Okay, which is, I'll take you on to the next bit. Another thing that we need to look at. Okay, oops, sorry guys. Okay, so we've got the pull. The next one is that movement that we discussed, that weighted rotation. Even in trained athletes and people that go to the gym a lot, this is the most under-trained exercise. This is the biggest cause root cause of injuries. None of us train this, okay? And I want to bring it to your attention. You can also do this with band. If you want to come at me and I'll show you. So there's variations of this that will really protect you from having a bad back or any issues, okay? One of them, what I'm going to ask you to do is grab it with your outside hand and then support it with your inside hand, okay? So you can tie this, if you want, to a stairs or a post or whatever, and you can just do this. This is an exercise, okay? Where do you feel that? You feel that in your arms? Okay, where do you feel, go for it now? Where do you feel that? Yeah? So he's feeling it in his arms. I'm going to give you this. I'm going to give you, because you're strong, I'm going to give you a little bit more resistance, okay? Oh yeah, promotion. Okay, now where are you feeling it? There? What about anywhere in your body are you feeling it?
Waist.
In your waist? Okay, where in your waist?
Here.
Okay, in his core. He's feeling it in his core. That rotational exercise is amazing for activating all the muscles in his core, which will help protect his lower back. Okay, nice and strong. So that's an exercise we can do. There's also anti-rotation exercises. You might come across the plank, yeah? You can do isometric exercises there, which will help you strengthen. The last one, which is another thing that no one trains and that we should, because we do it all the time, is something called weighted carries or locomotion. You think, any of you celebrating Christmas? We're about to get a lot of practice at this. Christmas shopping, carrying, yeah? Christmas is another time of year where there's a lot of injuries to the back because people haven't practiced carrying heavy things for long walks. And that puts a lot of demand on our spine. Okay, guys? So, is there any questions on this that you want to cover? So you now all know, you can all be personal trainers on this now, okay? You now know 7 different movement patterns. So can someone show me an example of a weighted carry? How you can use what's around us to do a weighted carry. Perfect. That's actually called perfect. They're variations. That's called a suitcase carry, believe it or not. We can rename that as toolbox carry now. So you can do that and you can practice that. You can stand there in your house. You don't need any fancy equipment. You can start doing these movements, combining with your macronutrient balanced meals, and your health markers will significantly go up. Okay? So, how do we do this in real life? So, we look at how many times a week we can do this. So we're looking at roughly how many times you should do this combining with your nutrition. I would recommend 3 times a week. 3 times a week, 2 to 3 sets per movement pattern. Okay? So you do 2 sets. Everyone cool with what a set is? Yeah? 2 to 3 sets of squats, hinges, lunges, pushes, pulls, rotations, locomotions. It can take you as little as 25 minutes. 25 minutes, 3 times a week, is an investment into yourselves, okay? How many reps per working set? 10 to 12. I'm not asking you to do 50 or 30 reps each. 10 to 12 well executed, controlled reps for 2 to 3 sets, and try to add the load so that the difficulty gets to about 8 out of 10. So by the last set, you should be like, whew, yeah, I'm working, baby. Yeah, that's how we should feel. Any questions on that, guys? No? All nice and clear? Yeah, okay. Mini quiz time. You can have a little seat. Thank you for your participation in that, guys. It makes it so much better. Okay, mini quiz for some cards. We're going to go name 2 types of aerobic exercise. Oh.
Swimming and jogging.
Dancing.
And
Jogging.
snap, snap, nice. Okay, next one. Name 1 type of strength training.
Weightlifting.
Yeah. What did we just cover?
Squat. Lunges.
Yeah.
Functional training.
Functional training. Nice. Wow, multiple cards now. Spring. Okay. Quick fire. Name 1 of the criteria that defines functional training. There were 6 of them.
Pick up a child.
So that was a variation of a deadlift. So that was a fundamental movement pattern. What about the 6 criteria? Real world biomechanics. So what defines functional training is the 6 different criteria here. So if you're doing something that is not any of that, it's not really a functional exercise. It's not really a functional training exercise, okay? Name 1 of the functional movement patterns. Hinge. Nice. Yeah? Can anyone do all of them without looking? There's the challenge. So if you learn those 7, yeah, if you learn those 7, you can teach them to your friends. You can teach them to your family. These 7 are amazing to teach the kids. The earlier that they learn them, the better they move, the safer they are, the less injuries. These movement patterns too are great to teach to your grannies and your nans. Okay, because we unlearn movements as we get older. Last one then, how many times a week should you functionally train? 3 times. How many times are we currently training?
0.
So there's lots of opportunity. So even if you do it once a week, it's going to help you. You now know how to do it. You don't need a fancy gym or expensive memberships. You can do it. You've got the book, you can do it. Okay, we're going to move on. The mini quiz is the last taxing part. The summary is for you to take away, really, guys, okay? So we've got a summary of all the big points, and I've missed off one of them, and now we're going to do a Q&A. Okay, so out of everything that we've covered today, is there any questions that you have? Yeah?
I seldom cook, and how do I prepare meal that is healthy and nutritious and full of macro and nutrients together?
That's a really good question. So you seldom when you cook, so how do you prepare macro balanced meals? So thank you for that. So even now, if you look on Grab, yeah, your brain will look at it differently. Because of your level of awareness now, you will look at Grab differently. There will be a T-junction now of your decision-making process. And that's on you now. So you can either choose what you know is a bad option, or you can adjust your choice to make a healthier option. So now you're aware of it, now you can make better choices. And another thing is, if you don't cook, now you have the knowledge to help educate the people who cook for you, or if you're in hotels or whatever, you can look at the available options and make the better choices, if that makes sense. Does that help? Okay, thank you. Anyone else got any questions? Yeah?
How can I do this if I travel a lot?
Okay, so how can you do this if you travel a lot? So if we break down the 2 parts, the nutrition part first and then the fitness. So the nutrition will be, again, making better choices, looking at what's available and being conscientious about your meal construction. It would also be about choosing the right restaurants. It would be about going to hotels with the right types of options with their meals that they have. With regards to the exercise, the good thing about these fundamental movement patterns is that they're not limited to anywhere or anything. You can do them in a hotel room. You can use a bit of sort of ingenuity and initiative, and you just use the toolbox there for the way to carry. You can look at the things around you and you can use them to do these training, different functional movement patterns, okay? Great question though. When you're traveling as well, it would be, if you go into places like service stations, it would be around highlighting there that there's not going to be a lot of options. So if you are traveling, it might be worth preparing your food to travel, so that you can take food with you in refrigeratable bags and ice boxes, so that you can eat on the go. You might have to take the food rather than get convenient food. As we discussed earlier, what tends to be in service stations is the simple carbohydrates and cheap options, and all fast food options. So, any other questions, guys? Out of everything we covered, is there any reservations that you can do this? Is there anything concerning you about what we've covered today? No? Okay.
I have one question.
Yeah.
Between, if you have a choice between cardio as well as strength training, which one is actually more critical?
It's a really good question. Studies will suggest strength training. Unequivocally. But it's not an either or. There's always seems to be these cardio purists and strength purists. A good balanced exercise routine will have bits of both in it. But if you are really fixed for time and you have to choose one, go strength all day long. Okay, there's much more benefits from strength training than just one modality of cardio training. Okay, it's a really good question, and it's as long as exercise has been around, it's always been a debate. You should try to have a bit of balance between. So all of those different things, a good routine will have all of those things in it. It will have some cardio, it will have some strength training, it will have some balance and flexibility and stability training. Normally the balance and stability stuff comes at the start of a good workout session. It's called a ramp warmer, raise, activate, mobilize, potentiate. That is all the balance and stability work. You go into the strength session, there's some cardio elements in that, and then afterwards, that's the flexibility bit. You do the static stretching. So that's a good balanced workout routine. And then if you're lucky, you can go home and wash the dishes and work the dog, and then speak to the baby and the missus. Okay, mate? Great question. Any other things, guys? Yeah?
So what are your suggestions?
Yeah.
If we think that we have hit a certain plateau in the progress.
Yeah, no worries. So a plateau, effectively, so I mentioned the name of it earlier, yeah? It is called the SAID principle. So SAID, you'll have to bear with my spelling, okay? So this is T-I-O-N. Specific adaptation to imposed demand. A plateau is where the demand is equal to the recovery and to the process that you're in. So imagine a seesaw. A plateau is a balanced seesaw. To create movement, you either need to increase the demand or reduce something on the other side of the seesaw. If I was looking at breaking a plateau, I would look at the variables, what I'm trying to achieve, the goal. If I'm saying I've plateaued building muscle, well, building muscle is a few different things: mechanical tension, metabolic stress, muscle damage and repair. I need to create more of that and feed more. So this is what I always say. If you've plateaued, you need to create some more demand somehow. You're just, homeostasis is a plateau. That means your body is adapted. Nothing's causing it to change. So you have to work out what you can do to increase the demand to make your body change. Whether that's increasing the amount of workout you do, the amount of reps, the amount of weight, increasing the amount of food, or reducing the amount of food if you're losing weight. So you have to create a stimulus to break that plateau. Make sense? Okay. Anything else, guys, before we wrap up?
One last question.
Yeah, no worries.
If we were to do a workout
Yeah,
in the morning,
Yeah.
is it okay to be on empty stomach, or we must have something before the workout?
it's a really good question. So some people swear by doing intermittent fasting and then fasted cardio. Okay, so we spoke about earlier that carbohydrates are the fuel that fuels us for workouts, it fuels our muscles and our brain. Our body holds carbohydrates all the time. Holds carbohydrates in our muscles, in our liver, and our blood supply. So we're never in starvation mode. Our body is an amazing machine. It will never let us get tired to death. To get to a point where we're absolutely exhausted, you see ultramarathon runners doing hours and hours and hours of exercise, and our body will find ways to fuel the workout. So can we get benefits from doing fasted cardio? Yeah, but are you burning fat off your body? Very minimal amounts, like it's almost negligible. So I would say you're better fueling yourself for the workout and having a really, really good workout than going into the workout with an empty stomach and hoping that you might get an extra 0.5% of fat lipolysis through the workout because you've got an empty stomach. The likelihood is you'll feel like shit and you won't be able to train as hard, so you won't get a benefit from the workout. Some people do prefer to train on an empty stomach just because of how they feel. They don't like feeling full and heavy going into a workout. I think if you've eaten within 8 hours of the workout, you've already got plenty of energy stored up to do it. It's 9 times out of 10, it's the psychology going into the workout. If people think, I train better on an empty stomach, now I'm fasted, I'm going to burn more fat, it's just a psychology going into it. The studies suggest that training on an empty stomach, your body will adapt. It'll either go into a different type of energy system, a ketogenic energy system, or it'll start doing gluconeogenesis. It's negligible. Okay, great question. No? 2 seconds, sorry guys. Okay, so if there's no more questions for me, guys, we're going to do a little spot quiz for you, okay? So as part of the summary. So if we look at the start of our journey together, we did the macronutrient food types. Some of us said that we scored 9 out of 10 or 8 out of 10, some of us 8.5, some of us are 6. So let's see where we're at now. So if I do flashcards, if we do the flashcards quick, we'll do this. Thank you, Kate. Cheers. So if we do the flashcards quick, we can do a quick point scoring thing. So what macronutrient is, and it's quick draw, okay? Tofu. Oh, very quick. Nice. Caviar.
Protein.
Whoa, guys, it's too quick. Okay. Muscles.
Protein.
So easy.
Give me a muscle.
Okay. You got a oh, I can mix it. Okay. Peanuts. Yes, mate. Quick on the draw. Oh no. I ripped you off. Sorry. Okay. Cheese.
Protein.
Marginally, yeah. So it was one of those ones that was fat and protein, but it was cheese. It was cheese. It was protein. Okay. So now I'm going to dive a little bit deeper. Now I'm going to ask you if it contains 2 macros. What are they?
Food. Fat and protein, fats and protein.
Very nice, very quick. Before you go on the salmon. Okay. Burger.
Fats and protein.
Fats and protein.
Nice. Which one's the most?
Fats.
Protein.
Fats.
Protein highest, fats next. Remember, 40 grams of protein, 30 grams of fat.
Okay.
Well done, no? Okay. Next one. Let's try and find a tough one. What do we say about mushrooms? What's mushroom?
Carbs.
Yeah. And
Protein.
protein. Very but low nutritional value, yeah? Okay. Sorry, mate. Well done. Okay. Last couple, guys. What about grapes?
Simple carbs.
Simple crops.
Yeah. Nice. Sorry, mate. No?
I'm real grapes with me.
Okay. What about spinach?
Simple carbs.
Complex.
Ah. Nice. I love the little complex. Okay. Last one, guys.
Oh, the crab stick.
Don't eat crab sticks.
There's no crab.
No crabbing crab sticks. Okay. So, can anyone remember the saying about if it runs?
Flies.
Swims.
Swims.
Yes, crawls.
Crawls.
Grows.
Grows. So if it runs, it swims, it flies, or it grows, eat it. And if you can see how when it did that recently, happy days. If we can identify that, it means it's very processed, yeah?
Yes.
Okay, cool. When we're looking at the quantity, when we're looking at the measurements, what measurement is a fist?
Cups.
Calves, yeah? What measurement is a palm?
Protein.
How many palms should a man have per meal? Female?
One.
Okay. What part of my hand is a representation of fat? Yay!
Yeah.
I'm gonna give you a card for that. I was super fast. How many thumbs of fat for a man? For a woman? Awesome. How is that every meal?
Most of it.
Most of the meals. Awesome, guys. Okay. I hope you found that helpful, guys. I just have 2 more requests, if possible. Want to volunteer